Hey guys, thanks for tuning us in for this 21st episode of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. In this episode, we're going to share some of our listener favorites that have been requested, like an interview with Soledad O'Brien, Captain Keith Colburn from Deadliest Catch, Disney star and comedian Miranda May. We'll also visit from Shark Week, Joe Romeiro. We'll also visit with country artist Hayden Haddock and actor Casper Van Dien. Of course, if you would, please take the time to subscribe, drop a like, comment, leave some feedback, and, of course, be sure and share with your friends. Up first is Soledad O'Brien, as we talked earlier this year about the Hearst TV documentary on COVID-19. First off, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show this morning.
Oh, the pleasure is mine. Thank you for having me.
Now, the documentary this evening coming up, obviously this is something everybody's, it's at the top of everybody's minds. What are, give us kind of the aspect into tonight's documentary.
Sure, yeah. So we were shooting a project in Seattle on homelessness when all of a sudden COVID-19 kind of landed in Seattle as the first spot in the United States. And so we pivoted pretty quickly to take a look at how public health was responding to some of the most vulnerable populations. As you know, not just in Seattle, but around the country, the most vulnerable populations were people in nursing homes. And we saw a massive number of deaths in nursing homes where the disease was spreading very, very quickly. And also tremendous fears among the homeless population. I mean, for people who get coronavirus, the death rate is 2 to 3 times higher in the homeless population and in the nursing home population. So we kind of pivoted and started shooting and following a mom who lives in her car with her 12-year-old daughter. They're homeless, and she's trying to figure out, what happens now as everything shuts down. Her daughter no longer is going to school as coronavirus comes into Seattle, and their public health workers are trying to figure out what to do to respond to the crisis. And then also people in nursing homes whose loved ones are inside, and they can't get them out, even the ones who don't have coronavirus. They're not allowed to leave the nursing home. And so we really just wanted to see what's it like to be a public health worker trying to protect the most vulnerable and other people, obviously, in the city and make decisions in the very first time these decisions are being made in the U.S.
And Soledad, this is something we've never seen before, is a pandemic of these proportions, and to be able to share the first responders' view on and to maybe celebrate the work that they did, just like you said, shorthandedly and short-timedly as well. How cool is that for you to be able to be a part of that as well?
Yeah, it was amazing, and it's one of the things that I like best about journalism. I like having the opportunity to get in and hear from people on the front lines. I mean, it always just felt like such an amazing opportunity, frankly, to be there while things are unfolding. And sometimes that means a little bit of craziness, certainly, in trying to shoot it and capture it and do it and be safe and keep your crew safe, obviously. But it was a great opportunity. And also, I think, to highlight public health. Public health, they call it the invisible backbone, and I think the downside of being an invisible backbone is you never get any credit, and you don't get a lot of funding, right? People kind of ignore you. And so I think public health has been ignored for a long time. This is the worst public health crisis we've seen in 100 years, and think that we've been defunding and underfunding public health. And by the way, all administrations, Republican administrations, Democratic administrations, have all been chipping away at funding public health, and that's obviously had some disastrous consequences.
And obviously being out there on the front lines, I mean, everybody thinks there's such a media twist to each and every story. What is maybe the thing you saw firsthand that maybe doesn't get the airtime that it really should?
Yeah, what's so interesting is to talk to Stevie, who's living in her car with her boyfriend and her daughter, and she just doesn't really think about or care about or have any concerns about coronavirus at first, right? Why? Well, obviously, she's got a million other things she's worried about. How's she going to feed her daughter? They're living in a car. And you realize for vulnerable populations, one of the reasons I think COVID-19 has hit them so hard is that there's just so many other worries. She has no money. She's trying to figure out where to eat. Her daughter, they closed school. Well, what's she going to do with her daughter? How do you do online schooling if you're homeless living in your car? So this idea of that everybody's focused on this disease, for the most vulnerable populations, often they have so many other things to be worried about that they just don't focus on it. They just can't.
And I know we had a psychologist, author on a couple of weeks ago, and was describing what COVID-19 has done to people. And he said that the reactions that we're seeing from people is that of a grieving population. And firsthand, is that kind of the way you saw it as well?
Yeah, I think it's really true. I think people are dealing with something that they have no control over, and scientists haven't exactly figured out how to manage it. We know more than we did 5 months ago, but we still don't know a lot. And obviously there's no vaccine and no real, credible treatments at this moment. So I think that's true. That's a really good way to put it. Grieving and sad and upset for all that's lost and relationships you can't have. To watch people in a nursing home have to talk to their loved ones who are struggling over, FaceTime is brutal. It's just brutal. How do you deal with that? I think that's incredibly difficult.
And Soledad, always want to make sure and let all of our listeners know where they can keep up with everything else you've got going on social media wise as well.
Yeah, probably the best way to follow me on social media is I'm always sort of at Soledad O'Brien on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. So I'm hoping to get on TikTok, which I'm told is no longer just a platform for my teenage children to do dance videos. And so hopefully in the next little while I'll be there as well. But I'm definitely all over social media.
That's awesome. Well, Soledad, it's been great to visit with you this morning. I appreciate the insight and look forward to the documentary as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Up next, I got to visit with one of my favorites, Captain Keith Colburn from The Deadliest Catch. We talked as the latest season premiered. First off, Captain Keith, thanks so much for your time.
Oh, no problem. It's we're talking to Oklahoma. Is that correct?
That's right.
I've never been to Oklahoma. I've been to almost probably most of the states in the United States, but I've never been to Oklahoma. I understand it's a beautiful state. Still a little upset that my Seattle Supersonics are wearing a different jersey there. Not too fond of that, but otherwise, yeah. One of these days I'm going to make it to OKC.
There you go. Well, Keith, first off, are you surprised that it's gone 16 seasons for The Deadliest Catch, or were you one of those guys that was always like, I'm a superhero, people need to watch me, right?
Well, no, I've never thought I'm a superhero. I might be a super jerk, but I guess it is surprising, but I think one of the things about the show is that it has evolved. And it's evolved in a good way with technology. I mean, if you watch an episode from season 15 or 16 and then watch an episode from season 1, you can literally see just the advances in what they can do. I mean, I've been on the show now for 14 of the 16 years. And like my 5th or 6th year on the show, I told the producers of the show, I said, you guys haven't even caught the weather yet. You haven't even shown how bad it is. And that's the thing. People ask all the time, is it as bad as it looks? Guess what? It's even worse than it looks. Because you can't smell it. You can't really quite hear it. You can't feel that boat diving into a wave and that massive amount of green water curling over the bow. Now, they're getting better and better every year at showing it, hearing it, kind of almost feeling it. And I think that's one of the reasons why, at the end of the day, it's not me and the other captains that are the star of the show. It's the weather. And we have to deal with some amazingly bad weather.
And what is do you think it's like you said, the smell? What is it about the smell that makes it so obvious whenever the bad is looming, if you will?
Well, it's more of like a sixth sense or something, I mean, feeling the boat take an awkward or more pronounced roll, the sound on deck of the crew hearing me come over the loudhailer to yell at them. And my crew knows, I don't want to be the boy that cries wolf. If I was saying watch out every time I saw a wave coming at the bow, I'd be saying watch out every 12 to 15 seconds. And it's like, sometimes that's just the only way I can describe what I do for a living is that I'm living in 45-second increments, driving a boat in horrible weather with guys exposed to Mother Nature. And I can't see past that third or fourth wave with the wave frequency. And you don't know when you're coming over a 25-foot wave and dropping into the trough or the ditch of a wave that might be 35 or 40 feet. Every now and then you'll see the monsters coming, and you can try and brace for it and let the guys know. But more times than not, Mother Nature, I just call her Mom, man. I try and coexist with Mom, and sometimes she just totally beats me to hell. But other times she's a very nice woman. And I know there's a lot of ladies out there that are pissed off, saying, wait, how come they had to call it Mother Nature? How come Mother Nature's the bad guy, right? It's like, I was disappointed when they stopped making hurricanes. They had to be like socially correct, and every other hurricane's a male name now. Come on, man. Name the hurricanes female names. We all know they're wicked and nasty.
Now, Keith, as a new season approaches, what do you think are the biggest improvements you've seen over the seasons?
From the television perspective or from my fishing perspective?
A little of both.
Oh, well, fishing. In fact, Sig on the Northwestern and I had a conversation the other day, and it's like, because we have this pandemic we're dealing with. We've been isolating ourselves for years. But the Bering Sea has gotten a lot smaller because of technology. The technology for bottom sounding, mapping, GPS, satellite phones has gotten to the point where, it's not the old days when I started where you literally had a paper chart and you were plotting things on a chart with things like Loran that were moving slowly. So for us, it's the Bering Sea's gotten a lot smaller. And the world in itself has gotten a lot smaller through technology and with, the globe, people coexisting and marketing and business and everything going across borders. It's the same thing. So technology has been the biggest thing that has really impacted our fishery and at times made it easier to fish, but at other times made it more confusing. It's just one more thing to think about, right? It's like, God, can't we just go back to a paper? Can I just go back to a paper chart and a dart, please?
That's awesome. Now, again, the 2-hour season premiere, and tell the listeners a little bit what they can expect in the opening episode.
The opening episode, you're going to see a Bering Sea captain that retired a few years ago come back. You're going to see Jonathan Hillstrand come back from the Time Bandit. And I can guarantee you this. It's worth watching just to see that hooligan and pirate and, and he's a good friend of mine. In fact, I'm in Boise, Idaho the other day. I was having a social hour with him when the earthquake hit in Idaho. Mm-hmm. And my girlfriend Hillary happened to be on the phone FaceTiming when all the lights and everything started shaking. Everything was going crazy. And she's like, it's an earthquake. I'm like, it just feels like I'm back on the boat, man. It's no big deal.
Nothing to it. So, yeah, John coming back, I think, is, for me, going to be one of the highlights of the show. And then the lowlights of the show are every year, producers try and make it a bigger year, bigger weather, bigger this, bigger everything. The bottom line is this. This year, we really had some of the worst storms ever. That opening episode, I left town a little bit before the fleet. Most of the fleet stayed tied up for Typhoon Elsa, and I made a mistake. I got away with it, but in hindsight, and I like to think I'm a safe guy and a safety conscious guy. My safety record is pretty impeccable, knock on wood. But the show opens with some hellaciously bad weather, and it never stops. The whole season, we just get our butts kicked by Mom. Mom was in a bad mood this year. That's right. And again, the 16th season of Deadliest Catch returns, a 2-hour season premiere coming up tomorrow night, 8 Eastern, 7 local time on Discovery. And Keith, it's always great to visit with you, man. I wish you a great rest of your week, and hopefully we can visit again real soon.
All right. Hey, man, I'd love to come back on the show anytime.
Up next, we talked with Disney star and stand-up comic Miranda May. First off, Miranda, thanks so much for taking the time to be on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Now, we're going to talk a little bit about, we got a couple of Disney shows coming together, got a big crossover event coming up tonight. And Miranda, wanted to give you a chance just to talk about the excitement of doing these crossovers and getting to work with the other stars on the network.
Yeah, shooting the crossover was really fun, and thankfully Raven and I had become friends about a year, maybe a year or two before we did the crossover, and I had said in an interview that if I could cross over with a show, it would be her show, and then that ended up happening, which was awesome and so fun to see our cast come together, and there's similar ages between my kids on my show and her kids. To have everybody have somebody and make new friends was fun to watch, and see these characters meet each other for the first time was cool for us, but I can't imagine how cool it will be for the fans of the shows to see these people that they love, so they probably thought would never meet each other, come together in the same space. So I'm very excited for it.
Now, being a part of the whole Disney landscape, I mean, how cool is that for you? And are there times that you just have to pinch yourself and wonder if it's really real?
All the time. It's awesome. It's very fun. It's something, I think most people grow up with Disney in some way, shape, or form. You either watched the movies or you watched the channel or whatever it is. You had some connection to the mouse. And for me, I watched all the movies. I watched all the shows, and I can remember my house growing up sat in the middle of 160 acres. I grew up in the country, and my sister and I, we didn't have neighbors, so we had each other. And on the 4th of July every year, we get these giant sparklers, and we would go out because they hold their shape. We would go outside when it was dark, and I would say, hey, I'm Miranda May, and you're watching Disney Channel, and I would make the Mickey ears with my sparkler. And so the first time I did that, I think that was my biggest pinch me moment at that point, because that was something I never thought I would do outside of that cornfield. And so to then be on a stage doing the real thing was insane. So yes, those moments happen all the time.
And to get the feedback and the response from the kids that are fans of the show, what's that mean to you on a personal level?
Oh, it means so much. I mean, there are millions of kids out there that I'm best friends with that I have yet to meet, but I hang out with them every day. I hang out with their parents every day, and I have this friendship with all these people across the world. And that's probably the coolest job you could ever have, is to constantly be making friends and to make people laugh. And you go somewhere like a children's hospital, I'll go and visit there, and those kids are like, you know what, this makes me so happy. And you're just a part of what could be, a very terrible time for someone. You're helping make a little bit better. And that's absolutely insane. Best job ever. And when anybody tells me that they're laughing, if they go home and they want to watch it, it's definitely rewarding. I love hearing that.
Now, like we mentioned, also doing stand-up comedy as well. How hard is it to switch from Lou to the comedy side for Miranda?
I would say it's not that hard because, I mean, she's a character for me, and she's somebody that I really can only be her, and it sounds really weird, but I can only become her if that script is in front of me. People will ask me sometimes to do lines in the Lou voice or whatever, and I'm like, I have to have a script. It's a completely different person for me. But I love it. And when I do stand-up, that's me on my own, That's just Miranda and all of her craziness, which is a different level from Lou. Lou's always at a 10. I'm a little bit more relaxed.
And again, Miranda, the crossover coming up tonight, 8 Eastern, 7 local time. And if folks want more information about all the other things you've got going on as well, where can they keep up social media as well?
Yeah, I'm on all social media, Instagram, all the things. It's the same username, just at the Miranda May.
All right. Well, Miranda, it's been great to get to visit with you this morning. Best of luck with the show tonight, and hopefully we can visit again real soon.
I would love that. I hope you guys love the show tonight and give me some feedback.
Of course, you can find her on all social medias, Miranda May. Up next, we visit with shark expert and videographer Joe Romeiro. We talked as Shark Week was underway. Of course, when does Shark Week ever run out of time, right? Joe, always good to visit with you, my friend.
Good morning. Happy Shark Week.
Now, as Shark Week is already underway, do you stay up all hours to keep up with Shark Week yourself, or are you able to kind of sit back and relax now that it's underway?
Well, we're not really working right now. We don't have to film them anymore, at least for this week. That's the 1 week where you're guaranteed off. Everybody in the offices are very busy, and we usually get to stay out of the field. So we get to stay in, we get to watch it, we all celebrate it together. It's like we all go away, make our shows, and then we come back, and then we all celebrate them together.
And obviously this year things have been just slightly different, Joe, than years past. But how much do you think that makes people really appreciate Shark Week that much more, and something that they know, that one of those things that hasn't been pushed away by COVID?
Well, I got to hand it to Discovery Channel, like Howard Schwartz, Candace Allgood, Lori Goldberg. Everybody there has done like an amazing job of putting this together. Because I mean, we actually have a huge lineup of we have a lot of science shows, we have a lot of fun shows, we have a lot of fish out of water stories that seem to get, there's all kinds of different aspects of like everybody looking at sharks. It's got everybody's different viewpoints, and there's a little bit of for everybody in there, but there's also a little bit of attitude in there for everybody. There's happy, there's like funny, there's serious, there's everything.
And being the videographer, is there a certain angle that you try to achieve whenever you're going for a shoot? Is there a specific angle that you're looking for in your mind's eye?
Well, I mean, the rule of thumb with sharks is 3/4 underneath the face, like put lights underneath the chin. There's a lot of little things that you're trying to do as far as portraiture photography. I mean, you are filming an animal, so I mean, you treat it much like you do a human, except you're on a remote site and you're using remote lights, but you can't direct the animal, so you just kind of like guess the varied and then start to do all this stuff. But it's complicated. I mean, a lot of people that work in filmmaking work directly with their cameras. We have to work with our cameras underwater, and they're inside of a box that's controlled by buttons and gears and levers on the outside of the box that connect to the camera. So a lot of the things that are available to us through the menu are like, take a bit of time to get into. So, the amount of stuff that we have to go through, I think it's an interesting job. It's an interesting job, but I wouldn't see my life any other way.
Some of the specials include tonight a very special Will Smith Off the Deep End. And Joe, what can we expect from the continuation of Shark Week tonight?
Well, I worked on the Will Smith show, and we went to a location to actually have Will encounter sharks. And I'll tell you, it's a step up from regular sort of shark diving, especially for someone who's never really done that sort of stuff. But you can see why he's like, a grade A actor and like all over the world, because that guy can just understand direction. Like to take him from like a complete amateur at shark diving to, someone that was diving some of the largest sharks in the world. He stepped up his game a lot. Like, I got to hand it off to him. I don't think, like, starting shark diving, I would have jumped so far. But he's had a lot of, like, he says a lot of inspirational, motivational things to you while while we were working. And there was one that he said about finding people that are the best in their field to be able to bring him up to a higher level of understanding that field. And he really had a good basis of it. Like, Will is, he's one of those characters. And I think, honestly, the whole cast throughout the whole Shark Week have been like that. Everybody who gets involved in it are really, like, willing to put themselves out there in a place where they normally are really out of water.
And with having the stars like Will Smith and the one and only Mike Tyson on this year, I mean, you guys are just setting the bar that much higher for next year, right?
It gets harder every year. It gets higher and harder every year. But, I mean, the technology gets better. The animals are always changing, so the stories are always different. There's a lot of, there's still so much to do, but this year will be a hard year to beat, for sure. The amount of attention, and just stories we have, I think that this year will be a definite hard one to beat.
So again, Discovery's 32nd anniversary of Shark Week continues through the 16th. And Joe, I want to make sure and let our listeners know where they can keep up with social media. And I'm sure you're going to be playing along with Shark Week as well.
Oh, I will. You can find me at Joe Romeiro 333 on Instagram, Romeiro.
All right. Well, Joe, always great to visit with you, and looking forward to the continuation of Shark Week, and hopefully we can catch up again real soon, my friend.
Hopefully soon. Have a great one. Happy Shark Week.
Up next, we'll talk with country artist Hayden Haddock. We got to visit with him with his last single, Red Dirt, Texas. We get to visit with him about his latest single. Hayden, good to visit with you again, my friend.
Hey, thank you so much for having me back on the show. I really appreciate it.
And I tell you, since last time we talked, I know you were talking about hoping to branch out, grow the brand a little bit, and I've seen that come to fruition since we talked last. And Hayden, what I know things have been a bit different this year, but what do you attribute the success to this year so far?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, pretty much I've just been doing my thing, staying in my lane, and seeing where everything's taking me. But I guess just having a great team around me. And having good promotion going on, and I think like you said, it's been a weird year, but I think something that really helped actually was those doing all those live stream shows, because I got to you don't have to travel anywhere to do those, but you can be playing for some people in New England or whatever. So I think that also helped too, kind of grow the fan base. And but then, like I said, just kind of keeping your head down, doing your thing, and just trusting the people that I've got around me. And so I think they've done a great job of, in a short amount of time, expanding the brand a little bit, and we're just kind of doing it a little bit at a time and seeing where it takes us.
And I know when we talked last time, you wanted to kind of expand the brand a little bit, not just to be just a Texas radio artist. And I know I've seen the pictures. I follow you on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. And you've been doing some stuff in Nashville. And how cool is it to finally see a little headway there as well?
Yeah, it's been awesome. And like I said, that just kind of goes back to the people I've got around me, and that's over there. I get to go, and I'm lucky enough to call my producer and big songwriter of mine, Trent Willman. Get to call him one of my good friends now. So yeah, actually, just last week I went and spent about 4 days with Trent over there in Nashville, and we were just hanging out, writing songs. Didn't really have any big plans going on, and it's cool because obviously he's been over there for years, and he knows a bunch of people over there and knows all the places to go and all that. So he kind of takes me around and shows me the ropes, and he helps get my name out around there. So that's been awesome as well to kind of get moving over there in Nashville.
And we mentioned the new single, Where You Come In. This was actually the first one of the album that was written. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, this song, like I said, Trent Willman, my producer, me and him wrote about I think it was 4 or 5 songs out of the 10 off the record, and me and Trent sat down, and it was my first day in Nashville. I flew in the night before, and that next morning was the first time I went and met up with Trent. He actually picked me up from my hotel, and we went to his little studio office, and we knew we were going to write a song, and we ended up talking for a minute, and I started playing a little riff on the guitar, and then we started writing Where You Come In. So yeah, that song will always be special to me. It's the first song I wrote in Nashville, and the first song I wrote with Trent Willman, and the first song on that record. So that song's got a lot of firsts in it for me.
Now, for folks out there, I mean, we all have that a little bit of aspiring musician, and we all think we can write a hit record. We're like, why didn't I write that? Hayden, what's the biggest misconception about sitting down and writing a tune?
Man, there's a lot of them, actually. I think one of them is every song that, you may sit down and write with someone or yourself. Every song is not going to be great, and so you don't have to use every song you sit down and write. And that was something I just got to go hunting with Jesse Robb Jr., and he's obviously a big songwriter, and we were talking about that, and that's what he said. Is this band, I sit down, and some stuff I love, and I think I'm going to use, and some stuff you may spend 8 hours writing it, but then at the end of the day you throw that paper away and you never see that song again. And so that's one of them, and then the other is just Man, I don't know. You just got to kind of sit down and go for it. And I guess it kind of is on the same topic, but even if you're not sure what you're going to write, you just got to kind of get stuff on the paper. You don't want to sit there and not write anything for hours. Otherwise, you're just never going to get anywhere. And you need to write bad songs to write a good one. Someone told me for every 100, or what was it? For basically, you got to write 100 bad songs to get one good one.
So you're well on your way, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what's the biggest thing that you have learned in working with the songwriters and the other musicians and artists that you've become closer to over the span of the last couple of years? Yeah,
man, mainly it's been a lot of different things, and the songwriting thing was the biggest learning kind of aspect for me, and I'm still learning because, as you know, I only started my music career about 3 years ago, a little less than that actually, and I'd never written a song in my life, never attempted to, and so I'm still learning that, and so getting to write with some of these pretty big-name songwriters, I've just kind of sat back and seeing how they do things, seeing how they throw ideas out, how they work together, and like I said, it kind of goes back to what I just said, taking in that advice about, you got to write 100 bad songs to get one good one, or don't be afraid to write a bad song, or, whatever. So that's kind of that. And then in terms of the artist stuff, just kind of, that'd be more, I've watched those guys more on a performance side, so I'll go and see if I have the time off. I'll go and see live shows of different artists that I look up to and kind of see how they run their live shows, or Trent telling me, kind of how Cody does things, Cody Johnson, and, how Trent used to do things. And so that's kind of where I've been learning is, just trying to see how all these different guys kind of run things. And I kind of take notes from each of them and try to put it all together for me.
Now that being in Texas as well, a lot of places are allowing shows to come out. And what's the feeling like at the live show for you, Hayden? Has it changed, or is the same excitement there?
Right. The excitement is definitely still there because obviously, as I mentioned earlier, whether people are sitting down and having to stay at tables, or whether there's 20 people in a building or whatever, it's a lot better than sitting there singing for your computer camera. So the excitement's definitely still there, just being able to play in front of people, obviously. But yeah, it definitely is different when you actually look at it. We've gone back, and as things have kind of opened up, we just started playing some shows about 5 weeks ago or so, and one of them was a venue that we've played a few times. And, we played normally. There's, all these people out front. But, again, they, had to do the table thing, the social distancing, which is fine. But, yeah, totally a different feeling. But I think it's something we're going to have to get used to. And, again, you have these certain venues that are somehow getting away with cramming more people in and all that stuff. And, whether that's good or not, it's not for me to say. But, I think things will start to open back up a little bit more as time progresses.
That's right. Well, Hayden, I always want to make sure and let our listeners know where they can not only find out about the new single, the album, and upcoming dates for you as well.
Yeah, so the easiest thing to do to find anything out about me that you want is just go to my website, haydenhaddock.com, and that has links to Spotify, Apple Music, merchandise, tour dates, all that good stuff, and then obviously I'm on all the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We got a YouTube page, so pretty much type my name in anywhere, and I should come up. I hope so.
We hope it's the official, that's for sure. Well,
yeah.
Well, Hayden, always good to visit with you, my friend. Hopefully you have a great rest of your week, and we can catch up again real soon.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Again, for more information, you can find him at haydenhaddock.com. And our final guest is actor, you know him from so many sci-fi and action movies, Casper Van Dien. The new movie G-Lock, now available everywhere. Casper, first off, thanks so much for taking the time to be on the show this morning.
Well, thanks for having me, Cameron. I appreciate you, letting me come visit you.
And tell us about this the G-Lock, if you will. It's premiered on DVD, digital, and on demand today. And how excited are you about the new project?
Well, it's a film that I did with Stephen Moyer and John Rhys Davies and Talia, and it's a great cast, a lot of fun to work with. And Tom Patton, who directed this and wrote it, he wrote it based off on an immigration documentary he saw about people not being allowed in to certain places, and it was interesting to see what his take. He wrote a sci-fi film on immigration. It's like all these people from Earth. This gate opens up, or they create a gate, and people just start leaving Earth, go to this new world, Rhea, to live on it. And the time goes there to get there. It just causes years to go by faster. So it's like 12 or 70 years. So by the time people are there, now it's a whole new world. When you come over, you're still the same age, but now you age over there. So our ancestors are way there. It's for them. It's been like 700 years. And Stephen's one of the last characters to leave Earth, one of the last people to make it, and when he gets there, he's not welcome. People don't want him there. So even though he and I are from the same place, I don't want him there. I've been on Rhea for, my family's been on it for generations now, and I have children, and these people are seen as too much for us to handle, and we don't want them. They destroyed their Earth, and we don't want that happening with us. So it was interesting to have that dynamic in a sci-fi film. I found it very fascinating.
And for you, you've been trying to leave Earth for several years in several different films, and so now it seems like Americans and a lot of people on planet Earth are looking for a way out right now, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I'm so fascinated with everything, with all the things about Mars and us traveling and all the space potential for all that. I think it's interesting how much our technology and our has moved forward, and exponentially. I think we're going to keep going on a level that we will have that space travel more for more of us, and I think that's exciting for humans. And I'm just really. I've always been intrigued by it, and movies and books and TV have really helped drive that for me. And I think a lot of people, scientists and a lot of other people, are really driven by that, and that's why they do the Challenger and Enterprise. So.
That wasn't me, I promise.
Wow, that was so weird. I didn't know what that was.
Now, Casper, how much different this year? Obviously, 2020 is unlike any year, things that we've never seen before. How much different does it make press leading up to a release? I mean, how much different does the marketing look this time around?
That's a fascinating question, Cameron, because, usually we go on these press tours, junkets, we get set up, we have people there. Right now, they set it up. More of it is on doing, FaceTimes or Zooms or, different avenues, but we're still doing press, and we do panels, but now they're virtual panels, and so there's a lot of that going on. And for me, that's fine because I get to do a lot of it from home, and I'm okay with that. But a lot of times when I did the Starship Troopers world tour, I went all over the world, and then I sit in a hotel meeting all the different press people. But now you can just do it while you're at your home, and they flew me all over the world to just be in hotel rooms which I thought was kind of absurd. I loved it. I love traveling. I love meeting other people. I love being in all their cultures. But the travel of it, it's, we still get to do the press for it, which is fun. And I love to talk about movies and shows and the entertainment industry a lot. It's one of the great loves of my life, and it's something that I'm really thrilled to be a part of. So for me, it's still fun to do this, to have the ability to talk about projects we worked on, or talk to other people who really like movies and want to escape and go into space.
Now, Casper, what is the one thing that you have learned in 2020 that you can use today and moving forward that never would have even been even in your imagination of your day-to-day life?
Oh, well, I don't know if there's one thing in particular that this has taught me. I just, I spend a lot more time just alone with my wife. We've been together and now for 5 years, but we've been here married for 2 years now. And, we're eating healthier because we're making healthier choices, and we're doing all our own cooking, so we don't eat out as much and at all. We've eaten out like 3 times in the last 6 months, which is really rare for us. We used to eat a lot, but I really enjoy it. So I think, and I feel healthier. I feel like it's just, I'm eating cleaner, and I guess that's the one thing I've learned is that it's good to cook at home.
Eating clean's not always a bad thing, right?
No, it's actually, I think it's important. And look at this. I was always a bit of a germaphobe, I'll be honest with you. So this for me is kind of nice that more people are taking care of it. I used to be appalled when I go to a restaurant and somebody would come out to number 2 and they wouldn't wash their hands. I would be like, I'd be mortified, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. It used to gross me out. But now people are really washing their hands or wearing masks. People are sanitizing things. So I think, people are taking a little bit more care, which I think they should have done beforehand. Maybe we wouldn't be in the position that we're in right now. So, I'm not grateful for the pandemic or anything like that, but I'm grateful for some people's reactions and some people that are going to extra lengths to make sure that they are taking care of people that need it. Because there's some people with underlying causes that, or ailments that need to be protected more, and this is just our way of being more compassionate.
That's right. And again, the movie is available today. G-Lock and Casper, I want to make sure and let our listeners know where they can find out more information about the new film, and also everything you've got going on social media wise as well.
Well, I'm not on social media, so I don't even go on it. I'm just like acting and reading and doing all that. But I know that it's on demand. You can get it out today. It's a really interesting movie. Tom Patton, the director, did an incredible job. He's a super smart young guy, and Stephen Moyer is just one of the most talented actors I've ever worked with, and I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys like it. It's a super smart film. It's more than just a sci-fi adventure. There's a lot more to it.
There you go. Well, Casper, it's been great to visit with you this morning, and maybe by next time we visit, I'll get the camera where you can see us in studio as well.
All right, I would love that, Cameron. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on your show.
Again, thanks for joining us for this 21st episode of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. If you ever have a comment, question, a guest suggestion, or anything else you'd like to know, find the podcast on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Snapchat as @GQWithCam. Please subscribe and like the podcast, leave some feedback, and share with your friends. And if you'd like to help out in the funding for this podcast, feel free to click the support tab and follow the instructions. We'll see you real soon for episode 22.